This is Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Irvin.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Irvin, and today we welcome one of our local concert promotion teams, Two Stones Events. Now, this team has been responsible for some great jazz and blues shows through the years, most notably at the Brighton Smokin' Jazz and Barbecue Blues Fest, sponsored by the Greater Brighton Chamber of Commerce and held in September of each year. Two Stones founder Whitney McClellan Stone and Cal Stone. So good to have you guys both here. Welcome to Time Signatures. How are you?
Awesome. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm going to start right off by talking to Whitney here. I got a question. So talk about the beginning, Whitney, because I understand that you were the founder. When did Two Stones come to be formed, and what was your first event?
So it's a really long story, but I won't bore you with it. But when I met Callan, he did some really large events, like Wynton Marsalis and Branford Marsalis, and did a lot of fundraisers for local high schools. And I'm an entrepreneurial person. So when I met him, I said, that's a business. And it just was really good timing. I was coming off of a job with I was actually the director of a chamber of commerce. And so I'd done events, I promoted events, I'd done a lot of things like that. And I just happened to hook up with the Greater Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce. And Cal had a relationship with them, and so did I. So they hired us for, I think the first one was a summer, what they used to call Summerfest.
Yep.
It's now Taste of Brighton, which was taken over by the local merchants. Really cool event in downtown Brighton. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it was really good timing. The Chamber of Commerce contacted us about that. And then that was the first year for Smokin' Jazz.
For us.
For us.
Yeah.
So it had been around for a few years, 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, I think it started in 2006, and then we started booking it in 2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just, for us, it was a really cool opportunity. And then people started, word of mouth. People started hearing about what we were doing. We started booking some venues, some local venues with, just solo, duo, trio, whatever they wanted. But it kind of grew pretty quickly from there.
Yeah.
Okay. Whitney, talk about your biggest event to date. Where was it and who was on the bill?
So we do some, I should say, one-off concerts.
Sure. Yeah.
We've done George Winston. We've done him at a couple of larger venues. We did, Marty Stewart. Marty Stewart was a big one. Marshall Crenshaw, most recently, we did him at Mount Brighton and also in Grand Rapids. And we'd actually booked Marshall Crenshaw at the State Fair when we first started doing work with the State Fair. We booked their main stage for them, and that's been really fun too. That's been a fun event. But yeah, I would say that those are probably 3 more recently.
Yeah.
Once we became Two Stones events.
Yeah. The State Fair is probably the biggest event as far as number of people.
Sure.
But as far as name wise, Ramsey Lewis is
that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
So obviously you don't work exclusively with blues musicians. I would assume then, based on what you're saying, that your services work across most, if not all, musical genres?
Yes. It's funny because we get requests. I think the most interesting one recently was somebody wanted a ukulele player for
like 2 hours.
And we're like, are you sure you want a ukulele player for 2 hours? But
we found one.
Their event was Hawaiian themed.
Yeah.
So we found one.
Cool.
But it's funny because we do get requests for pretty much everything. And we can usually fill it. We have so many musicians that have become friends. If we don't know somebody, we have somebody that can recommend somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Well,
got asked to do a country fest in 2010, and it really wasn't our wheelhouse, but we just went out and started seeing country bands, and we
Sure.
ended up having a really good festival.
Yeah.
Very cool. Future reference, if you need somebody that plays ukulele, contact me. I got a guy right here in East Lansing that does.
I think I know him.
Is it Ben?
It is Ben.
Yes, we know Ben. I mean, we don't know him
Oh, yeah.
personally. Um,
No,
during
Ben's a
COVID,
great.
I started another, yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
during COVID, I started another company, because I was bored, called Detroit Ukulele Company.
Okay.
And I only have sopranos, but they have the English G on them. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So have you met Ben at all or no?
I have not met Ben.
Now
Only,
we
Oh,
just
man.
communicated like a message.
yeah, messenger via email.
Yeah.
Tell him Herb sent you. Reach out to him. Really, if you guys are going to be doing stuff like this occasionally, you should build that connection early.
Okay.
But listen,
Yeah.
we're not here to
Cool.
talk about ukuleles. We're not here to talk about Ben. We are here to talk about a big event that's coming up this weekend. As a matter of fact, just a couple of days away. So
Yes.
let's hear about all the details. I want to hear from both of you. We need times, the cost, who's on the bill, etc.
Okay. It's always the weekend after Labor Day. So it's always the Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
It is in what Brighton calls the municipal lot, which is the lot where City Hall is. It's
Okay.
a big lot. It's just the other side of the buildings on Main Street, on the north side of Main Street. Pretty easy to find.
That's where the big stage is, and all the music and the beer tent.
Yeah.
On Main
Okay.
Street, on Main Street, they have a ton of vendors, food trucks, mostly barbecue, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's smoke and jazz and barbecue blues. And the street, they get like 40,000 people for the whole event. It's pretty
It's
big.
big. It's probably the biggest annual event in Brighton,
Nice.
over the 2 days. But, it's the start time has fluctuated. We've been doing it. This is our 14th year. Sometimes it would start at noon on Saturdays. Sometimes it would start at 4. We basically settled on a 5-hour slot. This year it starts at 5 on Friday and on Saturday, and it ends at 10 both days. So
Wow,
there's
that's
4
nice.
bands. Yeah, there's 4 bands that each play 1-hour set. We have a really quick turnover between bands because we have a good back line of drums and bass amps, so they can come on, and it's 15 or 20 minutes and we've got the next band going. So Friday we start with Sean Dobbins Quintet. Sean is just an amazing drummer, jazz drummer in Southeast Michigan, although I think Sean is actually teaching at a college, maybe in Indiana now, a university.
Okay.
The second band, it started out as just the Brothers Groove. And then the third band is Brett Lucas Band. Fourth band is Thornetta Davis. But one of the guys from Brett Lucas Band, James Simonson, who also happens to play bass with Brothers Groove and Thornetta Davis, said, "Hey,
Wow.
you've got all the players here. Why don't we do a tribute to Johnny Bassett, who was
Nice.
a legendary blues man in Detroit, who actually played our
Yeah.
festival.
He did,
He
yes.
played it the very first year we booked it, and he stole the
Wow.
show. Man. We had Magic Slim on that show, and Johnny Bassett stole it.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So we were like, yeah, let's do the tribute. So they're bringing in Keith Kaminsky, who is part of the Motor City Horns, which is Bob Seger's horn section. He's playing
Wow.
because he was in Johnny's band. The Brothers Groove basically was Johnny's band
Yeah.
with Chris Kodish on keys, Skeeto Valdez on drums. And if they needed bass, if Chris couldn't do it left hand on the organ, then they would have Simonson play the bass. And the whole cool thing about all of this is after Johnny passed away, Brett Lucas ended up with his guitar, and Brett's going to bring it and play the Johnny Bassett parts for this festival and
Wow,
sing the
man.
parts of Johnny.
Wow.
And it was
Yeah,
that
it's
cool?
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
I'm
Thornetta Davis
just
is the
blown
last
away,
band.
man. This is something.
Yeah, but Thornetta just she always levels Brighton. Everybody
Yeah.
loves her,
She
so
does.
she'll be fantastic.
Yep. She pulls up, walks on stage, crushes it for an hour and goes home. It's something to see.
You know, I actually met her for the first time last summer.
Okay.
I just love the woman. I love everything about her. I love her band. Salt of the earth, man. There is, it's Larry McRae all over again, in my opinion.
Right.
These are
Yep.
some of the kindest people you'll ever meet in your life. And they are the consummate professionals. They come in, they do their job. They
Totally.
leave it all out there on the field. They don't hold anything back. And everybody that goes to see them, no matter where they're at, whether it's a little tiny venue or a great big event like this, they get their money's worth and then some.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mentioned Chris Kodish, who is the leader of Brothers Groove. He was Larry McRae's keyboardist for quite a while. But, Detroit, there's so many good players in Detroit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just super deep. So it's hard to go wrong booking Detroit bands.
Yeah.
But, we spread out a little bit on Saturday. So Saturday we've got an organ trio, Alex Anest, Anest. He kicks it off. And I think he lives in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
And then we have a band called Lexi Blue, who I think
yeah.
is more Jackson area.
And they were in the blues
Oh yeah, they won the blues competition,
in Lansing.
the Capillary
They did.
Blues Society, maybe 2 years ago. And
Yep.
we were judges on that. And that's where we heard them.
That's where I met you for the
And we
first
did
time.
them for the state fair.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Really good. Solid.
Yeah. And then the third band is Big B and the Actual Proof.
Another good friend
And-
of mine.
Oh,
Brian, okay. And I think he's Davisburg is where he's at.
I think he is.
Yeah. And
Yep.
then the last band Saturday to finish it all off is Nick Moss Band, which,
out of Chicago.
yeah.
And I got to tell
They're
you,
really
I
fabulous. Yeah.
would love to be there both nights, and unfortunately I cannot because I have prior engagements on Saturday, but I am going to be there Friday. And
Excellent.
I can't tell you how excited I am to see the lineup. You guys always bring a good lineup. Every year I see somebody on there that I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go see them. And I've not made it there, unfortunately. So I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to this year. But
Cool.
we talked briefly about the incredible barbecue that's going to be on hand. Make our mouths water, okay? Tempt our palates. Let's hear all about it.
Rock food.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, well, not crazy. The Chamber of Commerce hires us to do sound, stage, lights, and bands. So that's our niche. They always have some fabulous barbecue trucks. I know this year they actually have Cousins lobster truck, which is unusual because usually it's mostly barbecue. But everybody
Yeah.
loves the Cousins lobster truck.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that people will come to see that particular one. They usually
Sure.
have one called Hog Heaven. And just some really, really, I don't know how many. This year it's a little bit less because we have a little bit less electrical outlets apparently, but
Yeah. And, if you can't find a food truck that you like, Brighton's got probably
restaurants,
a
yeah.
dozen killer restaurants,
Yeah.
all within a couple blocks of the stage.
And the restaurants, it is a social district. So a lot of the restaurants
Nice.
will have a little bar outside where people can grab a beverage and walk it up and down the street too,
Yeah.
Sure.
which is cool.
Very nice. Now, I'm interested in hearing about how the turnout has, since COVID, of course, we had a huge shutdown for a couple of years. How has the turnout been since the rebound, since we've come out of the
Sure.
COVID deal?
Well, interestingly enough, right after COVID, we did have 1 year,
We lost 1 year. I think we lost 2020
right?
to COVID.
And then 2021, we did do it downtown. Then in 2023, right?
Yeah. We did 2 downtown. We did 21 and 22, and then 23, our whole Main
Main Street
Street.
was closed.
Yeah. They tore it all up and renovated the whole thing. So we moved it to Mount Brighton. And we did a
Yes, I
country
remember
fest
that.
out there.
Yeah.
We did a country fest there in July, and then we did smoking in September. But they're bringing it back downtown, which is really where it should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years out of COVID, I feel like people really wanted to be out.
Yeah.
So I feel like the turnout was just as good, if not better, in some particular instances.
Yeah. It's a huge event. I mean, unless it's thunderstorm, lightning, which we have had, people come out to this event. It's almost like a community reunion because people they just come and hang. A lot of people come for the music. A lot of people come to just hang at the beer tent and see old friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty cool vibe. But there's a central part. There's probably about 600 seats, and then there's a large 40 by 100 foot tent with tables and chairs. Those are the real music lovers. And then, you know, the people that just want to hang out and catch up with friends, they kind of mill about, you know, around it.
Very cool. Now, I'm interested. It looks like you got some really good sponsors. I was looking at the sponsor lineup for this event, and that usually means it's a lot easier to get money for the musicians, correct? Maybe you can talk about them for a minute.
Yes. So sponsorship is always so important. And Ann Arbor Bank took over a local bank of ours.
Yeah.
Which I think it was First National. And they had done it for years and years and years. And so when Bank of Ann Arbor came in, they totally stepped up to the plate and took over that main sponsorship.
Nice.
And again, sponsors are so important for events like this.
Sure.
Community events and people in most areas, but Brighton, Livingston County, they get it. They get that this is all about community.
Yeah. And the wristband to get in, it's only $7. You know, to see 4 bands.
Yeah.
You can buy a 2-day pass for $9.
It's
you
super,
you
super
go to
reasonable.
Arts and Beats, you pay $15 to park your car.
Yeah.
We don't charge for
Wow.
parking in Brighton. So I mean, it's an unbelievable deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, you just talked about what it's going to cost to get in for the weekend, and you said there is ample parking nearby.
There's parking all over. Yeah, you just, look online at the city parking map. There's probably,
Okay.
I don't know, 12 or 13 areas where you can park. You're not going to park next to the stage,
No.
but
And they're also doing a shuttle on Saturday. I don't know if they're doing a shuttle on Friday. Saturday,
Okay.
Saturday tends to be a little bit more people because it's the weekend. Friday, people
Sure.
are still at work,
yeah,
but they are doing a shuttle, I think, from the.
I think it's from Brighton High School.
Yeah.
I think it might be from the Meyer. But if you go to the Greater Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce website and punch in events, the smoking link, it'll tell you all the stuff, where to park, the shuttle,
Right.
wristbands, the vendors, everything's on
Yeah.
there.
So speaking of where people can go to get more information, let's get that website out there and we'll get it in their hands. We'll also make sure that we put that in the text about the episode as well.
Yeah,
Cool.
I believe it's Greater Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce.
That's not the website. That's if you Googled that.
Yeah, if you Google that, I think their website might be gbacc.com or
Okay.
Brighton Chamber.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's actually brightoncoc.org.
I'll tell you what, you can go to, I know this one, twostonesevents.com.
And we have
There you
links.
go.
And there's a
That's the
poster
one
there.
right there.
Just
That's the one.
click on the poster.
We will make sure
But
that we
it's-
put both links up. Absolutely.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool,
So,
cool.
and our website is the number 2 stonesevents.com. And once
Okay.
there, you'll see a picture of Thornetta. Just click on that and it'll take you to it.
Very good. Well, Whitney McClellan Stone, Cal Stone, thank you so much for coming on today and talking about this. I appreciate you guys coming on and filling us in. Once again, the event is the Brighton Smokin' Jazz and Barbecue Blues Fest, which is sponsored by the Greater Brighton Chamber of Commerce. And we are excited to see the show on Friday and Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but you all can be there and take pictures and tell me all about it. But Whitney, Cal, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having us,
you.
sir.
Thanks
Take
so
care.
much.
See you Friday.
Well,
Yeah, we'll see you Friday.
It's my pleasure. Once again, our big thanks to Whitney and to Cal for showing up here and being here and joining us today on Time Signatures. We also want to thank you, the sponsor, the viewer, the subscriber, the people that come in every time we have a show on. If it wasn't for you guys, none of this would be possible, and we appreciate you being here. Once again, this is Jim Irvin thanking you and also reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.